My very, very first ever live webinar that I'm also going to try and put a PowerPoint on. So I'm hoping that it goes really well. If there's technical problems, thanks so much for bearing with me, because I'm hoping what's going to come of this is that there's going to be some really good information and that it's going to be really helpful for you guys. So let me just get my screen share going here. If you've joined, if you don't mind making sure that you're muted, that would be great. Somebody just joined who is not muted, so please make sure that you're muted.
Ma, you called this meeting?
I hear somebody's little boy saying this a meeting. If you can mute yours, that would be great. Okay, so let's get started. I've had a lot of questions recently in my organization from people in my organization about LRP because it seems to be a little bit of a thing that people are having a bit of a hard time sort of conveying the importance of to people and letting them know just why it's important to be on LRP and how it can really be helpful for them. So I put together this little PowerPoint, and I'm hoping you guys can see it and that it works out well, and I'm hoping that it's helpful for you. But for me, when I think about LRP, I think about wellness consults, and I think that the two of them together are absolutely the secret for you to be able to build your own pipeline in your doTERRA business. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is just sort of like a fundamental sort of concept. I love this quote: "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And for me, the Wellness Consult is absolutely representative of this idea. The Wellness Consult is a service, and it's something that very much sets us apart from a lot of other direct sales companies, but also other essential oil companies. And what it really is doing is that it is supporting your new enrollees in getting, you know, sort of the richest experience out of their wholesale account possible. So why do Wellness Consult? There's a whole bunch of reasons. But for me, the very, very most important reason that we're going to be doing a Wellness Consult is to be building relationships. We are in the business of relationships. This is not just sales. This is not just numbers, but it's absolutely about connecting and caring for the people who trust us to support them. So the Wellness Consult for me is a really amazing sort of gateway to starting to build that relationship. It's also to support your new wellness advocates well, so they feel that their investment is valued. They get the most out of their investment. They feel heard and honored. They're able to start with the lifestyle changes of using oils to support their health and wellness. They're connected with the oiling community, local and online, and to teach people how to use the resources at hand to empower them to be able to find answers for themselves. All of these things, to me, are incredibly important. We're asking people to make sometimes a very considerable financial investment in their health and wellness with these products, and so to make sure that that's, you know, not a wasted investment and that they're getting really their money's worth, and then also to make sure that they're feeling connected, that they're not just some weirdo out, you know, left in the cold and they don't know how to use their oils and there's nobody else who's doing it. Making sure that they're connected is really important, and then from a business perspective, making sure that we're teaching people how to use these resources at hand to empower them to be able to find the answers for themselves. This in and itself is a duplicable process. Being the gatekeepers of all oil knowledge is not duplicable, but teaching people how to use the resources available is. And so that's something that's also really important in all of this. What are some of the other reasons to do a wellness consult? We want to be creating an informed customer. We want to be creating wellness advocates who know the reasons why we want to use different oils, different products, and then also be open to trying them and integrating them into their lifestyle. We want to help them get on LRP. I heard someone say recently that the only reason why you'd ever want to be on LRP is if you're building a business, and oh my goodness, this could not be further from the truth. The LRP truly was set up to be beneficial for everybody and get the, you know, very much the best savings out of their wholesale account. So it's really important to help convey the importance of that to our new enrollees. We also want to use this as an opportunity to explain the SHARE program and the benefits of sharing, and also to have the 3 pathways conversation with a new enrollee so that you can, A, support them for where they're at, whether or not they're living doTERRA, sharing doTERRA, or building doTERRA, and B, so that you can place them intelligently in your structure. Now, of course, there's a whole host of reasons why people don't do wellness consults. We are afraid of bugging people. I don't know how many times I have heard this. They have someone who's made the effort to come to a class, enroll with a kit, maybe sometimes a substantial kit. They've really connected with you after the class, and then we don't really follow up with them because we're afraid of bothering them. For me, that's fear speaking. That's not necessarily a real thing. But that's very much a reason why people don't do them. We think that they're hard to do. I've seen some wellness consults that I would say are hard to do, and that's not what I'm going to teach here today. But again, the wellness consult should be something that is simple, that is reasonably quick, that's simple to understand, and is in of itself a duplicable process. So, you know, quick and simple. Hard and complex, long and complex. We have a hard time scheduling them. Sometimes this is because we've missed an opportunity, you know, at the class to get that going. We don't see the point. Sometimes people don't understand why we would necessarily do a wellness consult, and I'm hoping that's something that you're going to gain from this particular webinar. We don't want to come off as pushy. That's something that, you know, so many people speak to so often in so many different capacities and aspects of their business. We're too busy, we are feeling shy, or like we don't have anything that we have to give, like maybe our own oils information isn't, you know, top notch or whatever, and we feel like we don't know enough about the oils themselves to be supportive to anybody else. The journey of the wellness consult. Okay, so I wanted to include this slide just so that people know how to kind of integrate them you know, throughout a doTERRA experience for someone who's new to doTERRA, so that it just sort of becomes like a matter-of-fact thing that it's going to happen. First of all, you want to be talking about your wellness consult as an added perk of membership. Sorry, I feel like there's somebody who's on who is not muted because I hear a little bit of background noise, so if everybody can just quickly check and make sure that you're muted, then that would be great. So yeah, so when you're in your close, in your class, make sure you're talking about the wellness consult as an added perk of membership. When someone enrolls, you want to talk about how you'll be adding them to the Learning Essentials site, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, and if possible, schedule the wellness consult right then. Most people have got their schedules available on their phones, and you likely do too, so you know, hopefully between the two of you, you'll be able to get that sort of scheduled straight away. If it's not scheduled at the class or at the one-on-one, make sure you're calling 2 days later and schedule. Some people are waiting until the people have got their oils, and I think that that's a nice idea, but there's a challenge for us in Canada where we're not actually receiving, or a lot of people are not receiving their oils sometimes for like 10 and 12 days, especially around kind of high, you know, high time or high busyness time or whatever. And you know, by that point, that's hard. It becomes hard for you to know where to place them in their organization. Maybe they haven't, you know, been able to maintain their contact. Somebody hasn't muted themselves and they just dinged, and I hear Facebook bings. So if everybody could just please double check to make sure that they're muted, that would be great. So I'm just going to go ahead and suggest that if you haven't scheduled the wellness consult at the class or at the one-on-one, make sure you're calling 2 days later and get that wellness consult scheduled. They don't need to have their oils. They're excited. If you need to bring them an extra sample, that's fine, but kind of get it going. Also, one thing that I heard of as kind of an idea, I heard about this at Leadership, there was a woman who was talking about her wellness consults and how they had really been integral in terms of building her business. And one of the things that she talked about was that she would always let the new enrollee know that she would be bringing them a free gift when you meet to do your wellness consults. So she would bring them like a sample of Deep Blue or the toothpaste or shampoo or another non-oil product. And the reason why she would do this was because typically at a one-on-one class, we're not really talking about, you know, maybe the spa products or the hair care products or, the skincare products, that sort of stuff. But absolutely, that's a huge part of our businesses. So in terms of furthering their education within doTERRA and what's possible, she would bring a free gift. Okay, so let's talk about the wellness consult itself. The wellness consult ideally is not going to take you more than 30 to 45 minutes. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you're probably going to cover, and initially they're probably going to be longer than that. That's just kind of life. But as you get more comfortable and as you get more familiar, you will be able to get them to go shorter and shorter. It should be done face-to-face, either in person or on Skype, FaceTime, or Google Hangout. If you can't do it in person and you can't work it out to do it, face-to-face over the internet, the phone is okay, but there is a whole lot that's sort of lost in terms of just phone conversation, and a huge piece of the wellness consult is in relationship building and is in connection. So whenever possible, try and do it face-to-face. The wellness consult should demonstrate how simple it is to figure out what to do with the new enrollees' oils. Because, we all know this, it's really simple to use, but I'm sure we all remember when we first started, we were like, what do we do with all of this stuff? It should set someone up with simple daily protocols, and it should have them set up to use their LRP by the end. Okay, so let's talk about the wellness consult form itself. The one that I'm going to be referencing most during this presentation is the wellness consult form that's available for free on learnoils.me. And but there's other ones that if you like them better, then go right ahead. I'm just going to be talking sort of about the general gist of the wellness consult itself. And there's going to be, maybe some differences depending on forms or, depending on what it is you want to do. But there's some stuff that I like about this one, so I'll talk about that. The first part here that I like is that it gives the new enrollee, the new wellness advocate, an opportunity to talk about themselves. So you can ask them to rate themselves between 1 and 10, 1 being poor, 10 being excellent, sort of where they're at in terms of, general health and wellness practices. Whether they drink enough water, whether they eat live and healthy whole foods, whether or not they're at their ideal weight, how much they're exercising, how much they're sleeping, all this kind of stuff. You want to go through this with them just to start to get an idea of where the person's health and wellness is at. From this information alone, you should be able to suggest many ways to support their health goals. So for example, if someone is rating their sleep at a 4, it's probably not amazing. And so you can ask them, why are you rating your sleep at a 4? So maybe this particular person says, I've got occasional insomnia. So then you're going to know that suggesting some of the sleep oils, Serenity, Balance, Vetiver, Lavender, are going to be a good idea. Okay, so I made up this chart here for you all. So on here, there's on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, it has the challenge, and all these challenges are linked to the questions in section 1. And on the right-hand side, there's a list of, sort of easy access list of just different oils or doTERRA products that could support that particular health and wellness challenge. So, for example, if someone's not drinking enough water, or they say they don't like water, or maybe they're a soda pop addict, or they just drink coffee all day long, that sort of thing, you can be suggesting for them to add their favorite, citrus oil or Slim and Sassy to their water. If somebody's, struggling with no or low feelings of happiness and peace, you can be suggesting LLV, Elevation, Citrus Bliss, and Frankincense. Now you're going to see on here that I'm pretty much suggesting LLV for just about any health and wellness challenge, and really, all of us who are using LLV know the difference that it makes in your life. And so beyond the fact that suggesting it, recommending it, and helping people understand just why LLV would be of support to them is a huge gift to them. But from the business side, LLV is absolutely a pipeline product, because if people, even if they're on a half dose, they're buying LLV every other month. and that's a significant amount of PV that they're going to be putting on an LRP template every month. So it's just good business sense as well. Okay, so then we're going to get a little bit deeper once we've kind of got like a good picture of where people are as far as their health and wellness. So you want to ask the questions, where do you want to be? You want to ask them, what, for example, how would you want to be prepared? So, make a list maybe with them of some of the common, little life's emergencies that happen for them, cuts and scrapes and bruises and burns and, colds and flus, all this kind of stuff. If they've got little kids, you're for sure going to be wanting to be talking very much kind of like a family first aid kit approach. If they don't, but they're talking about things like skin irritation or tummy upset, that sort of stuff, then you're going to want to be making sure that you're speaking to oils that would be supportive for those sort of things as well. Restore and prevent. This is where you're going to talk about, you're going to ask the question, what would your top 3 health and wellness challenges be? This is, not stuff that they're necessarily dealing with every day. Maybe they are dealing with it every day, but when they think about their overall global health, they're going to, speak to kind of the 3 things that they'd like to, get addressed right away. And then quality of life. What is someone really struggling with? Are they struggling with everyday exhaustion or just, poor immune response or weight challenges, mental health challenges, this kind of stuff? This here is also going to help you in terms of getting a whole picture so that you're making sure that you can really be supporting this person in a thorough capacity. I put this picture on here. Connection is key. Building trust. Specifically because for a lot of people, the wellness consult can be a little bit hard, and I don't mean the wellness advocate who's conducting the consult, but for the new enrollee, it can be a little bit hard. Because being vulnerable for some people is very challenging. For them to be able to speak some of their challenges, very, very hard. I've had wellness consults with women who could not even begin to talk to me about what their health and wellness challenges were because they were so, all up in, supporting their family. And that's amazing, but at the same time, we're trying to support them, right? So for some people, they may show resistance, and resistance might look like a whole bunch of different stuff. It might look like dodging the wellness consult itself. It might look like brushing off questions. It might look like, oh, no, I'm fine. There's not really anything there. And I think that one thing that's really helpful when it comes to stuff like this is to be able to share your own challenges and struggles, and how, for example, you worked with your enroller when you first started and how you gained support, that the oils have affected massive change in your own health and wellness, and that you have felt really empowered by having these solutions readily available at your fingertips when you need them. But share maybe a personal story of a health and wellness challenge that you had, and potentially that person's going to be able to identify, in that sharing, which is, powerful. Okay, so top 3 health and wellness challenges. This is your opportunity to teach your new enrollee how to use the resources that we have at hand. So if you're meeting them in person, I'm going to suggest that you've got a laptop with you, if at all possible. Definitely your Modern Essentials, hopefully your emotions book, but you want to be sharing these 3 main key resources in terms of, go-to, that kind of thing. Oh, sorry. Let's try that again. All right. So for example, if somebody has a health concern of seasonal allergies, you're going to show that enrollee just how to find information on the oils that would support seasonal allergies in Modern Essentials and online. So here I just pasted a screenshot of the suggested protocols, or part of the suggested protocols, from neweverythingessential.me. If you are doing a wellness consult with someone over Skype or Google Hangout, you can screen share just like what I'm doing right now, and show them exactly, how neweverythingessential.me works, and you can run them through looking up the various protocols for the various challenges they've got. If you have got someone who is sharing something that's maybe kind of a bigger deal, like an autoimmune disorder or cancer, something like that, it's totally okay to say to them, you know what, I'm going to do a little bit more deeper research and I'm going to get back to you. Okay, that's the second point on this slide. But the first point on here is that you know, either on the wellness consult form that you've got, and depending on the one that you have, sometimes they've got space for these 3 main issues. Sometimes you want to do it on the back, on a separate piece of paper, or in an email. But you're going to want to write down the protocol for each of the main health and wellness concerns. Like I said, if it's a major concern that you need to do more research on, or you know, touch base with maybe people in your upline, just let them know you're going to be emailing them with the protocol later. That's totally fine. Simple and common concerns should be explored in real time in front of them, because again, you are trying to provide a living example of how they can use the resources available themselves in a really easy way. And make sure you are keeping whatever protocols they're using as simple as possible. Complex is overwhelming. We really want this to be accessible, simple, and effective for them. Okay, so you're going to also work towards creating a simple daily protocol, okay? As you sort of get deeper into your use of essential oils, you know, often we develop our own routines for ourselves. But again, this is something that we can support our new enrollees in getting into quicker, so they're starting to feel the effects and feel better quicker. So this particular, you know, little screenshot from that handout has got things split up into morning, midday, and evening. Okay, so in the morning, you're going to want to encourage Lifelong Vitality, Terrazyme with their breakfast, and then citrus oil in their water. And then you can also add in there oils that would be supportive for, you know, maybe some of their major health and wellness challenges. Maybe you've got someone who's struggling with anxiety, so that's when you're going to suggest for them to use, you know, some of the oils that are supportive for anxiety, maybe for them Serenity and Balance are what they need. So maybe they're wearing Serenity and Balance those days. In the afternoon, you're going to want to suggest Terrazyme again with their lunch. More oil in their water, because again, hopefully we're trying to, you know, encourage people to stay well hydrated and you know, use their lemon or their wild orange or their lime, whatever it is that they're into, to support you know, detoxifying their body. And in the afternoon, oils that you're going to suggest there, you know, if they need to reapply for whatever wellness challenge they're dealing with, then, you know, they can go right ahead at that point. But the afternoon should be about re-energizing and supporting focus and or connection. You know, depending if someone's at work and they really just need to power through their afternoon, or if you've got a stay-at-home mom who's now, you know, focusing on bringing her kids home from school, you know, that kind of thing. But just make sure that whatever oils you're suggesting at that point are supportive for those sort of goals. And then in the evening, we're going to suggest Lifelong Vitality again. Now, as an aside, some people find that Lifelong Vitality in the evening gives them too much of like a second wind almost. So you can suggest them maybe to, you know, take it with their lunch if that serves, or, you know, maybe early afternoon. Terrazyme again with their supper. Balance on the bottoms of their feet, and then whatever calming oil they are drawn to, just to sort of help move them into sleep time. Especially because so many people that we support have got challenges with sleep. I think that helping develop just a really super simple protocol, you know, even if it's, you know, getting your diffuser out and making sure you've got your lavender on your bedside table, whatever that happens to be, but just setting them up for that and sort of introducing that idea can be hugely helpful. Okay, once you've gone through your form, you've talked about health and wellness goals, you've talked about where they're at, you've talked about their, you know, immediate health concerns, what they'd like to have on hand for sort of emergency concerns and their daily protocol, you're going to want to list all the oils and supplements that you've suggested would be supportive for all this kind of stuff. Now, in all likelihood, someone's, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. There might be people who go, okay, I'll get all that next month. But for some people, they might say, you know what, let's see if we can split that up over 3 months. And to my mind, that's great. That's entirely creating the pipeline. So what you want to do is you want to ask them, is there a specific list, immediate health concerns, emergency concerns, or daily protocol, that's a priority for them? Or do they want to sort of chip away at building their supply of oils for you know, kind of all the different wellness challenges? And then what you can do is you can sit down with them and sort of figure out what their budget's going to look like, what's going to be supportive for them. So, if you've got someone who's willing to spend 100 PV a month, then you can start building, kind of a 3-month LRP plan at 100 PV a month off of your suggested list. This is also a really good time to revisit the perks of the LRP program and what you're going to get with a 50 PV order, 100 PV order, and 125 PV order. And then you want to make sure that you revisit the percentage of points earned back each month as they're progressing through their LRP program. You're going to want to create a 3-month LRP plan. So for example, let's say I was working with someone whose health challenges were anxiety, weight issues, and chronic pain. This person was willing to spend 125 PV per month, and they enrolled with a family physician's kit with Slim and Sassy. So I know what it is that they've got. I know what their challenges are. We've already walked through kind of what would be a good daily protocol for them, and they've already got the family physician kit as kind of their family first aid kit of oils. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mostly focus on chipping away a little bit at a time the oils and suggested products to support anxiety, weight issues, and chronic pain. So for month 1, I might set this person up with LLV, Control Bars, Serenity, and Balance. For month 2, I might set them up with LLV, Trim Shakes, Slim and Sassy, and Citrus Bliss. And then month 3, I might set them up with LLV, Polyphenol Complex, Lemon, Wild Orange, and Lavender, because chances are by this point, probably well before this point, but definitely by this point, they'll be out of the citrus oils from their family physician kit and out of their lavender. Now, this is just a list. This is not set in stone, but this is just to sort of help them sort of plan or budget or create a process that they can walk through that's simple and accessible and that's figured out for them. And then if you need to, you're going to walk them through setting up their LRP, their first month's LRP, so that they know, they can pick the date, they can cancel it at any time, they can change it like this, they can modify it, whatever they need. That would be really, really good. Okay, once you've gone through all of that and you've got their LRP set up, you've gone through the wellness consult, then this is kind of the other stuff. And this other stuff is also really, really important, not just to the person, but to your business. You want to make sure that your new enrollee is connected to community. So we are so fortunate that our upline created Learning Essentials. Such an amazing, place for a new person and an old person, I gotta say. I learn stuff on there all the time. But for a new person to oils, to be able to go and ask questions and glean wisdom, it just really, really is great. So make sure you explain the sheer awesomeness of the Learning Essentials community. Make sure that they know that they've been added, they're going to be welcomed, whatever, what have you. Make sure that they know that they can reach out to you personally at any time and that they're welcome to attend other classes to deepen their oils knowledge if they so wish. I have had several enrollees who, they enroll and then they come to like a 101 class maybe 2 or 3 or 4 more times. And it makes sense, right? The first class you go to, is generally, it's a lot. And if anything, it's just this whole new paradigm shift. You've never even considered using essential oils to support your health and wellness. So for some people, being able to come to repeat classes can really deepen their oils knowledge and can also encourage them to maybe branch out or try some new oils. And then you're also going to make a plan to reconnect in 30 days to see how things are going and or to tweak their protocols and our plans. So for example, if we were going to go back to the person that I had, given as an example previously, maybe as she's going, she says, I really don't like the control bars, but I love the trim shakes. Fantastic. So maybe what we're going to do is on your 3rd month LRP, we're going to put more trim shakes on there. And maybe this time we're going to try chocolate. That sort of thing. But it's part of the, you want to be in touch with these people. You want them to know that you care about them. Okay, once we've sort of done that part of things, we're going to move on to 3 pathways conversation. Now, I know the 3 pathways conversation really intimidates people, and I'm telling you it shouldn't. Again, it's really important to remember all we're doing is asking questions. We're not pushing anybody. We're not twisting anybody's arm. All we're trying to do is ask people questions. But it's really, really important that we hear what they have to say. So I'm not going to go through the entire 3 pathways conversation because Teresa Harding did a beautiful webinar, and the complete script is available on Module 1 of LearnOils.me in the Business Toolkit. So please, if you're not familiar with the 3 pathways conversation, somewhere in the next couple days, head on over there, watch the Teresa Harding webinar, and read over the script. If you've got any questions, please connect with your upline and have that talk. The idea behind it is to introduce the idea of earning money to either pay for oils or supplement or replace income, and to do it in a way that's not pushy. It's really just introducing an idea and presenting it as information that someone is welcome to take or welcome to leave, and either way is totally fine. The best time to ask someone if they would like to share is when they're feeling supported and when they're loving their oils. So many times people will come to a class, they're so stoked, they can't wait, they're so excited to get their oils. If you touch base with them and get them feeling really, well cared for and well supported through their wellness consult, and they start to think, man, this is a fantastic experience. And generally speaking, people want to share fantastic experiences. So you want to ask the questions, and then you really want to hear the answer, okay? Too often, we are ignoring what people are telling us, and we're placing them in our organization in a way that serves neither them or us. I don't know how many people I have seen, not just in my own organization, but in connecting with other builders, in our greater team and across Canada, where they said, I just really wish I had heard them when they said, that they didn't really want to build and they just wanted to share, or I really wish I had listened to them, because sometimes we put people in places in our organization where it's not really fair to them and it's not really fair to us. So make sure that we're really asking people where they see themselves as a user, a sharer, or a builder, and then place them accordingly. If someone wants to use share or build, and then are going to be placing them accordingly, make sure you're connecting with your upline for advice around placements if you need it, if you're sort of new at this whole placement structure thing, because that can be a little bit of a thing in and of itself. Okay, then you want to make sure that you're introducing the SHARE program. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the SHARE, well, everyone should be familiar with the SHARE program, but the SHARE program was developed by doTERRA pretty much as a way to encourage and reward people for doing exactly just that, sharing. Maybe they aren't necessarily intentional about building a business, but anybody who's sharing is contributing to your business, so it really is quite helpful. So you want to explain simply that by sharing doTERRA or hosting a class and enrolling people, they can earn amazing prizes. Especially now that the SHARE program goes on for 120 days. Holy moly, that's like, you can earn crazy amounts of amazing stuff. And it's important to kind of big up that, like make sure you explain it. And you also want to explain your own incentives for hosting classes. So for example, if you are offering a diffuser, if someone hosts a class with 5 people or more, this is a good time, to kind of put it out there. A good phrase to open with, it has been my experience that when a solution is working beautifully for you, that you naturally want to share the solution with your friends and family. That's exactly how I got into teaching classes. Can you think of anyone who would benefit from learning more about essential oils and how they can support health and wellness? If this is the case, then you can also lean into, would you feel comfortable, hosting a class for me? I'd love to come and teach for all those amazing people. Once you've kind of gone there and explaining the SHARE program, these are a couple handouts actually that I found images of. You can actually buy this off of Etsy, believe it or not. But it's got really beautiful images of all of the different credit kits or prizes, I guess you could say, and you can go through and just sort of say like, yeah, like, you can get this, you could get that, you could get all of it, depending on, how many people enroll and then what they end up purchasing for the next 4 months, especially if they start right away, right? Okay, I've thrown a whole lot at you, and I know for a lot of people this part might be really important just to make sure we kind of bring it all together, okay? How this process creates the pipeline. So you've enrolled someone. You do a wellness consult for them. You now have someone who is a cared for, informed wellness advocate. A cared for, informed wellness advocate plus a plan. So a plan to address and support any health and wellness challenges that they might be having. That's going to equal lifestyle changes. When you have someone who incorporates doTERRA into their lifestyle and starts living doTERRA as a lifestyle, that's going to equal consumption and sharing. If people are going through their oils all the time, that means they're going to be buying more oils all the time. If someone's on LLV and experiencing the amazing benefits of LLV, it means that when they run out, they're going to for sure be going and getting some more. If you've got someone who's using their stuff and who's sharing with the people that they love, this equals LRP, more LRPs, and more classes booked, which in turn equals passively increasing your PV volume every single month, building unit level, and creating a pipeline for yourself. And this, my friends, is the difference between doTERRA and so many of the other direct sales companies, is that we really are genuinely trying to build a pipeline and not just be continuously hauling buckets. If there is no wellness consult, the wellness advocate might feel unsure what to do with her oils. I know for myself, initially when I first started building and I had no idea how to do a wellness consult and I wasn't doing them, sometimes it took me 3 or 4 months to go get back in touch with people and be like, hey, how's it going with your oils? Just because I was naturally curious. And they'd be like, you know, I just really don't know what to do with them. And they've kind of been sitting there and I'm like, holy moly, like they spent all this money and now they're just sitting in a closet. To me, that's sad. A wellness advocate, new one, might feel like they've wasted their time and money. That's a terrible way to feel. If they're feeling like this is a waste, they're for sure not going to be reordering. They're for sure not going to be selling or supporting you in your business or sharing. They might feel like all you cared about was selling her stuff. Of course, that's not the case here, and I know that. But, you know, if we're not taking care of them afterwards, that might be how they end up feeling. They might be feeling unsure where to go for answers to questions they might have. They might not be feeling really confident about how to use the different resources available. And they might be ignorant of the business opportunity itself, which, again, you know, that's a sad thing. If you've got someone who's loving the oils but kind of left out, you know, in left field, then that's a potential builder that, you know, you haven't connected with. The quickest way to create a one-time builder, or buyer rather, is to not do a wellness consult. And that's the truth. Okay, you want to be preparing your own mindset. I'm not quite sure where I was going with this, but that's okay. Enrolling can be a little bit like a passionate one-night stand that you never called back. Okay, initially it's fun, it's exciting, and it is fun and exciting when you're enrolling someone for, you know, for the first time. Maybe they're buying a big kit, like it's awesome, and they're excited, and you're excited, and it's great. But that excitement is ultimately short-lived, and, you know, ultimately unsatisfying because it's kind of like a hit. There's no sort of, you know, there's no continuation, and, you know, if all we're into is, you know, one-night stands, it could lead to some commitment issues. Whereas the wellness consult, to me, to my mind, is the beginning of a healthy, long-standing relationship. It allows for support, it allows for trust, it allows for connection, it allows for inclusion, it allows for growth, allows for change, and allows for mentorship. And to my mind, it allows for relationships to blossom. I can tell you wholeheartedly, the very best thing about my doTERRA business is the unbelievable women, in particular, and men, who I have been able to get to know and love and connect with. And, you know, for me, that's been the very greatest gift of being involved in doTERRA, kind of at all. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, and as with all things in life or doTERRA, make sure to have courage and be kind, because where there is kindness, there is goodness, and where there is goodness, there is magic. So, thanks you guys very much for listening in. I'm going to unscreen share here so you guys can see me again. Stop. Okay. Hi. And I'm going to stop the broadcast in a minute here. If you've got any questions, I'm going to stay on here, and I'm more than happy to answer them. But beyond that, thanks so much for joining in and for listening and for taking the step towards growing your business and deepening the connections with the people who you've already enrolled. Thanks.